Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Museum Munchkins. I'm Mr. Nick, and today we are going to be talking all about symbiotic animals, animals who help each other out, because this week is Kindness Week. So we're going to be practicing being kind all week and talking about animals who are kind and helpful to one another. And we're going to start off today by singing a song about being kind. If you want to stand up on your feet. Now, this song you might have heard before. It's If You're Happy and You Know It, but we are changing it just a little bit to If You're Kind and You Know It. So, do you like being kind and helping people and helping out others in your community? Well, this song is just for you then, and we're going to practice being kind and celebrating how happy we are that we're kind to one another by doing some different motions. So we're going to listen for the motions in the song and then follow along. Are you ready? All right, here we go. If you're kind and you know it, clap your hands. If you're kind and you know it, clap your hands. Be kind in all you do, it's the right thing to do. If you're kind and you know it, clap your hands. If you're kind and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're kind and you know it, stomp your feet. Be kind in all you do, it's the right thing to do. If you're kind and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're kind and you know it, spin around. If you're kind and you know it, spin around. Be kind in all you do, it's the right thing to do. If you're kind and you know it, spin around. Very good. Oh, but don't spin too fast. I don't want you to get too dizzy. If you're kind and you know it, pat your head like this. If you're kind and you know it, pat your head. Be kind in all you do, it's the right thing to do. If you're kind and you know it, pat your head. Very good. Now, if you're kind and you know it, find a seat. If you're kind and you know it, find a seat. Be kind in all you do, it's the right thing to do. If you're kind and you know it, find a seat. Very good. And now hopefully we're all sitting down and we're all ready to listen and learn about symbiotic animals. I'm sure there are so many more motions that we could do in our Being Kind song. And you could do some more. You could sing this song at home and add all your own actions too. So maybe you can do that when we're all finished watching Munchkins today. I'm going to set my guitar down so we can talk all about symbiotic animals. All right, so like I said, symbiotic animals are animals that help each other. And we're going to show a lot of different animals that help each other out. So can we say that word together too? Symbiotic. Can you try saying that word with me? Symbiotic. So that means animals, two different organisms that live close to each other, that help each other out in some way. And it's always good, I think, to help out somebody else. Is there anybody at your house that you help out? So maybe you have a pet at home, like a cat or a dog, and they rely on you for food and shelter and companionship. And in return, they provide you with their companionship. That's a symbiotic relationship right there. You both are helping each other and getting something that makes you both feel really good. That's what symbiotic relationships are all about. So let's talk about a few different symbiotic relationships. So the first one I want to talk to you guys about is the goby fish and the pistol shrimp. So these animals live together on the ocean floor and have a very beneficial relationship. So the shrimp don't see very well at all, but they're really, really good at digging burrows in the sand. So the shrimp spend their days grabbing food that swims by their burrow and clearing sand and rocks out of their burrow that may have fallen in over the day. But again, they're not very good at seeing predators who might be approaching and want to gobble them up. So that's where the goby fish comes in. The goby fish hangs out outside the shrimp's burrow, and it keeps watch for the shrimp. And when the fish sees a predator or something big swimming by, it flicks its tail and alerts the shrimp that there's danger around, and then they both go into the burrow and hide in there so that they'll be safe. So the shrimp gets protection and an early warning about predators from the goby fish, and the fish gets a safe place to live along with the shrimp. So they're both helping each other out to survive. Another good example of a symbiotic relationship is one you might have heard of before, clownfish and the sea anemone. So sea anemones live attached to the surfaces in coral reefs, and they trap their prey with these long tentacles that are covered with stinging cells. So their tentacles have little stingers on them that cause fish that swim through them to freeze up and float down into their mouths where they can gobble them up. And while that hurts most fish, the clownfish, it doesn't bother them at all. Clownfish have a special mucousy skin over their bodies that protects them from the sea anemone. So the sea anemone can't hurt them. It can be kind of a hard word to say, anemone. So it doesn't hurt them, and they can live safely amongst the tentacles of the sea anemone so that they don't get eaten. But they are really brightly colored, the clownfish, and they will attract other fish to swim in and try to grab them. And that's when the sea anemone can sting them with their tentacles and eat those fish. So again, the clownfish gets a nice safe place to live, and the sea anemone gets food to eat that come in and the fish that come in and try to eat the clownfish. So they're both getting something, they're both helping each other out in some way to survive. Now, the oxpecker bird is another type of a symbiotic animal, and it has a good relationship with lots of animals. So the oxpecker bird will fly around perching on different types of animals like impala or oxen or giraffes and zebras, lots of large animals that call the African savanna home. And it perches on these animals to eat the ticks and the insects that are on that animal's body. So the oxpecker will sit on the back of these birds and eat the insects that are crawling around on it and all the other things that are crawling around on it. And so the big animals get their coats cleaned, and they get all these itchy little insects eaten off of their bodies. But then they also get a warning system, because if the oxpecker bird happens to see a predator getting close, they will let out a very loud screech. So the oxpecker bird gets food, and the bigger animals get protection from predators and early warning about predators, and they get all those itchy insects taken care of by the oxpecker bird. So it's a good solution for both of them. Now, one more that I want to talk to you about is the acacia ant and the bullhorn acacia tree. So the ants live in the tree, and they build their nests among the tree's thorns. So these trees have lots of big thorns on them. And that gives the ants shelter, and it also helps to protect them from animals who might want to eat the ants. And in exchange for that shelter and that protection that the tree provides, the ants, anytime an herbivore comes in to munch on the tree, the ants will swarm it and attack it and make it leave, so it will leave the tree alone, so it won't eat the tree. And they will also use their strong jaws to trim the vegetation around the tree, to trim down the other plants around the tree, to make sure that the acacia tree gets plenty of sunshine to help it grow. So even the tree and those ants have a good symbiotic relationship. And there are tons and tons of different types of symbiotic relationships, animals or other organisms helping each other to survive. So it's so great that in the natural world, we can see so many amazing different organisms that have learned to live and thrive by working together and being kind to one another. And that's what this week is all about. So is there anything kind that you think of, that you can think of that you could do to help you in your area, in your neighborhood, or in your house where you live? Maybe you could help at home by cleaning up all of your toys without being asked. That'd be a really kind thing to do. Or you could go on a scavenger hunt around your neighborhood and clean up all of the trash that you find. So hopefully we don't find too much, but it's always fun to take a little bag with you when you go for a walk and pick up any of the trash that we find. That's being kind to our neighbors and to our environment. You could tell someone who made you some tasty food how good it is and how thankful you are that they made that food for you. Or you could even write a letter to a friend and let them know how much they mean to you. Those are all wonderful, kind things. And if you don't know how to write yet, you could always draw them a picture. These are all wonderful, kind things that we could do this week and every week, not just during Kindness Week, but all the time. So I hope that you can think of some really fun things to do this week during Kindness Week, though. And I've got a really special story today that I wanted to read you that's all about not only being kind to other people, but being kind to yourself, too. All right, so today's story is You Are a Beautiful Beginning, written by Nina Layden and illustrated by Kelsey Garrity Riley. It is not the number of pages. It is the story in the book. It is not how far you've traveled. It is the journey that you took. It is not remembering the lyrics. It is singing a song in your heart. It is not creating a masterpiece. It is finding the courage to start. It is not knowing all the answers. It is listening to what others say. It is not about winning the game. It is having fun while you play. It is not making the most friends. It is loving the one who is there. It is not owning everything. It is bringing something to share. It is not being a hero. It is being part of a team. It is not putting up walls. It is about building a dream. It is not hogging the sunshine. It is helping others to grow. It is not being afraid of darkness. It is looking for places that glow. It is not wishing to be different. It is learning to love being you. It is not the end of your story. It is a beautiful beginning, too. The end. Hi, everyone. So today's craft, we're going to be making some kindness chains. So you could make this as like little rings that you fold or cut out and roll up and hold together, but we're going to do a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do is I need a piece of paper like this, a pair of scissors, and something to write with. And that's all I need for this craft. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to fold it over just a little bit like this. And then I'm going to fold it the other way. like this, back and forth. We call this accordion style. Back and forth until I folded up my whole paper like that. There we go. Perfect. And actually, I'm going to cut off this little extra piece at the end there, so my edges are nice and even. There we go. All right, so now I've got, if I unfold it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got 5 little folds on here, and now I'm going to cut it. And when I cut it, I'm not going to cut all the way through on the edges because I want to hold it together for a really special reason. So I'm going to start down here on the side. And again, I'm not cutting all the way through. And I'm going to cut out a little person out of this paper. Now, I'm doing this freehand, but if you need a little bit of help, you could always draw a person onto the paper before you cut it out. That's a way. That way it makes it a little bit easier so you can see exactly where you need to cut it out. So here we go. I've got one leg there. And let's do another leg here on this side. There we go. And perfect. Now I didn't cut through all the way on these hands and these feet. So now if I grab this piece here and this piece here, I can pull it apart and it looks like a bunch of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people all holding hands. And what we're going to do with these kindness chains is we can make a whole bunch of these, and every time this week during Kindness Week that we do something kind, we can write it on one of these people and keep adding and adding, and then if we run out of 5, we can make another one and glue it or tape it to the end of this chain, and we can see how long can we make our kindness chains this week. So I hope you guys had fun this week talking about symbiotic animals, the animals who help each other out. And I hope that you spend some time this week during Kindness Week to help out some people or some animals even in your area. And I hope that we can make some really, really long kindness chains. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.